Hey there, you me and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am the stepson of Krypton,
Mantis.
and today we are discussing news that there is going to be a Superman prequel released before the movie is out. Mantis, don't want to spoil anything yet. Are you ready for this discussion?
I am.
All right, guys, I don't want to waste any time. We're trying to do better about keeping them succinct, so we're going to jump right on into the episode. So let's go. All right, guys. So, as we said before the intro, we are getting a Superman prequel. Now, at first, when we read this news, Mantis's blood was starting to boil because you know how he feels about origin stories and things like that. He's not as bad about prequels, but this one was a little bit different of a turn, and I'll say I'm here for it. Mantis, do you want to say what that prequel is going to be to the Superman movie?
Yeah, well, I think we talked about this was a couple days ago. I had mentioned this is a possible video topic, and we both looked up online and on Amazon, which they didn't even have a cover art for it on there yet. It just says no. It said no image, right? And I was like, this has got to be it, right? And it said it was a what did it say? It was a
Junior
young
novel.
adult, yeah, like young adult type thing. Which I was like, why didn't they just do comics? Why didn't they do like a 5-issue run of, or even a 3-issue, even if you wanted to start now, right? Just do a 3-issue run of the prequel story and be done. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe it's more of a condensed, how they do a whole run in one book, right? One thing you purchase. So
Well, so the only problem with that is this is 144 pages. So this is substantially more.
well,
Now, if it has like where one page is all just like clang, things like that, that I don't know how it's going to look, right? Because it's a
well,
junior novel.
we'll get into that because there is some news on that.
Well,
So
I'll tell you real quick. So I was at the comic book store yesterday. I don't know if you did your Wednesday pickup.
no, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow so I can get the action one. So yeah.
Okay, he says that.
Ah,
We're doing another video on that, but
okay.
so yeah, but I asked him. I said, "Hey, can you put me on the waiting list for this?" And he looked up. He goes, "Junior, it's listed under the kids section
Mm-hmm.
for what he could order." So he's looking at us like, first off, I'm getting creepy looks like, okay, I'm a 42-year-old guy asking about a kid's book, like this,
Yeah.
like a single, no kids, and all that stuff. I was like, dude, if it's a kid's book, I said, if it's written in the style of a kid's book, I was like, I don't know that I want it, man. Like, or to put a reservation on it. But I was like, well,
Mhm.
it's 144 pages. Who the fuck writes a kid's book at 144 pages as a prequel to a new birthing franchise? Sorry, had to say that real quick. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's going to tell you the same thing, but I may go reserve a copy anyways.
Yeah, yeah. No, so we'll get into what kind of the article that I found on this. At least there's a couple, but it kind of takes from a few of them. But again, there's a release. I think maybe they didn't actually do a news release on it, a press release on it. But obviously, everyone knows the Superman movie coming out in 3 months, so roughly around 3 months. I think was it the 11th?
July
So
11th. I
we're
apologize, guys. On a couple of our recent videos, I keep saying next month because it's in May, and I don't know what I was thinking. It's not May, it's July 11th. But I just, for whatever reason, I was like, oh yeah, next month, and I caught
Mm.
myself when I was editing. I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about? In July 11th is when the Superman movie will release. So I apologize.
Yeah, yeah. So, in following the Creature Commandos, which is kind of the first TV show DCU thing that they've released in James Gunn's DCU, Superman will be the first theatrical film released in the DCU. It was also be the first solo movie in the DCU icon since the Man of Steel movie that came out, which we've kind of talked about several times actually. And amidst kind of some of the details that most of us know about the Superman movie coming out, because we've talked about it again numerous times on this channel. One known fact is that there won't be an origin story in this film, which, as Cal said, I'm not a fan of origin stories, especially mainly in films that everyone already knows the origin of the character, right? I see a place for those types of things with new characters. Like I like the Penguin, like the TV show The Penguin, where you kind of get to see his backstory and how he came up. I'm down with that, right?
TV show though.
Yes, TV show, not in the movie. Um, But however, doesn't mean that most fans that are going to go see this new film will be devoid of any of the setup and prior knowledge of where this movie starts. As we talked previously on one of our last videos, uh, this kind of picks up where Superman has or Clark has been Superman for a while, and his relationship with Lois kind of has just started, and that's kind of where the Superman movie starts off. And
Well,
this book. Oh, go ahead.
real quick, I thought it was important because as Mantis had pointed out when we did the sneak peek reaction to is, and he pointed out the next video we did after that too, is that scene where he's like beaten down in the ice and he calls for crypto. That's the start of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
the start. So that we're
Yeah.
jumping right into it.
And we
No
talked about
subtlety.
that. Like we thought maybe they would do kind of like a flashback to see how he got there, right? Well, maybe they're not. Maybe this prequel book is going to kind of set up what happens right before that as well. So, as listed by the publishing company Penguin Random House is who is doing this, is set to release the prequel novel. Is a novel tied to the release of the movie, obviously, and the book will be titled "Superman: Welcome to Metropolis." So, my thoughts on this is yes, we're going to get some backstory. It's not an origin story. It's going to be kind of maybe the year or several months leading up to the start of the Superman film. So, what do you think about that being the prequel setup as far as instead of getting an origin story, or I know a lot of people were worried about we're just dropped into this and we have no idea what's happened right before it.
So one thing I really like in 2006 or 2007, I'll have it up on the screen for the exact year. We've talked about it before. It's just I just don't remember all these things. Is before the original Iron Man movie released, and a lot of people are like, who the fuck's Iron Man? They released a Iron Man animated movie to
Hmm.
kind of help people get acclimated to who this character was before you bring a big name like Robert Downey Jr. and you spend all this money to make an Iron Man movie, right? And I feel like that helped it, right? This prequel, and you say they say it's a junior novel. Again, the comic book store, they're like, oh, it's listed under the kids section. um Whatever, I don't know how it's going to be written, but that's a great medium, like you said, or a comic book or something like that, to then say, hey, like, look, if you aren't super invested in the character and the storyline, where like maybe it's just a date you're taking to go see the movie, so you don't really care about all the backstory, cool. But for the people who kind of want to know, like, what is some of the like, not origins, but what's leading up to where we're at now, right? Okay, he
Hmm.
came to Earth, cool. How did we get to where we're at right now? It's
Yeah.
not origins. It's some time filler. I think a book is a great way to do it. It allows you to use your imagination, and kind of like
It's
pitch
more
things. Plus,
descriptive too. Like
do what?
that's one I said. It's more descriptive too, because like at first I kind of I wouldn't mind comic books because it kind of makes sense. Like it's a comic book character. We're making a film about a comic book character. Why not make the comic books instead of a novel? The problem with that is, as we know, like you get great visuals in comics, but you don't get necessarily
A lot of
the
story.
the inner monologue of how the characters are feeling. You don't get what they're thinking, right? In a novel, you can totally explore those ideas.
How do I
Um,
explain to her, because of the unfreezing process, I have no inner monologue? Sorry.
My God, Vanessa's got a fabulous body. I bet she shags like a minx. How do I tell them that because of the unfreezing process, I have no inner monologue?
exactly. But according to the listing, the book will explore Clark's earliest days living in Metropolis. So we're assuming he just got there, which kind of makes sense of why he just started going out with Lois, working at the Daily Planet and managing his secret identity as Superman. Also look into, which is I thought this was very interesting. It will also look into a dangerous mystery that appears to connect Nicholas Holt, who is playing Lex Luthor, who comes into the upcoming Superman movie already hating the Man of Steel. The book will even include an 8-page full color insert with profiles for the film's core cast of characters. So if you're looking for a little backstory on all the characters, like the full cast is going to
See,
be in there.
that's what makes me. It's not like a kid's book. Like maybe teens and upper teens, but not like a fucking 8-year-old's children novel. The sun was yellow. It was like it's not gonna be
Yeah,
like that. Like read like Superman like for 5-year-olds. Um,
right. Yeah. I agree. I think it's going to be more like you remember
Which FYI, the sun's
Goosebumps?
not yellow; it's actually white. But yeah, Goosebumps. Yes.
Like they're young adult novels, right? Like there's probably 100 words on a page. They're not that long. Um, and not as intimidating for younger readers. So I can see that because again, they're also trying to bring in a younger audience to see the films. And as we talked about previously, like young kids are not going to the comic book store buying comic books. It's they're just not. And so maybe this is a better way to do that. I think an even better way would be like you mentioned with a short animated film or a short series animated series would have done it, but I guess they kind of already popped that cork when they did Creature Commando. So I don't know. Either way, the it'll be released on June 3rd, which doesn't give you a whole lot of time, a little month and a week there to kind of read it. Which again, 144 pages. I know you're a fast reader. For most adults, that'll be quick. And then most young adults should be able to read that within a month. So get y'all ready for the movie, and I'll just kind of read off the synopsis of what this is probably what's on the back of the novel. You read the back of it and it tells you what it's about. Take to the skies with Superman in this original prequel novel based on the new film in theaters July 11th. Clark Kent is a fresh-faced Metropolis trying to balance his new job at the planet and his secret identity as Superman, a powerful metahuman, while uncovering a dangerous mystery that seems to tie back to the infamous Lex Luthor. And that's kind of the in a nutshell version of this. It begs one couple more questions though. Could this book have ties to other DCU movies or shows? Are there going to be other characters in this book that don't show up in the movie that they kind of bounce off of this into a TV show or movie or something like that?
See, when you said that there's this like kind of secret underlying, I go back to, and we mentioned it in the last video, the Superman Doomsday movie, right? The animated movie where
Mhm.
Lex is the one, his team is the one that drills into the earth, and they're trying to dig into the earth's core, and they stumble upon Doomsday and they
Mhm.
release him on accident. Something like that I think is kind of cool, like, and it doesn't have to be Doomsday.
Yeah. Also, like, will they take this as a plan that they're going to do for other films? Like, are they going to do this for? Well, I don't think they would do it for the Supergirl movie because they'll kind of. I think she's going to be kind of in Superman film. So, but maybe with the other upcoming movies that they're going to end up doing, they'll do something like this where they're going to come out with a prequel novel or something like that. Just interesting to see how if this is a kind of a success and people enjoy this kind of format of prequel novel to movie, if they're going to pursue that for other projects in the DCU.
I don't think it's a bad idea. There's a lot of the again, when we're talking about the fan base that has an attention span of a goldfish, and the memory of one. There's a
Yeah.
lot of the fan base, the younger fan base, and even older too. We're getting older; it's harder to remember shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to be appealed by the let me read a book in my downtime, right? Like this just
Yeah.
especially I'm going to go buy a physical copy of a book. No, they're going to get on their Kindle Fire and read. It just depends. But I do like the idea of, hey, we give you the option of having some extra information about how this franchise is birthed. It's up to you whether you want to explore that. It's kind of like we talk about, like, you're dealing with some of these shows, right? Like maybe you don't want to watch the Lantern show. Okay, cool. Then when you see Green Lantern, all the Green Lanterns in the movies, you can't say, well, they didn't explain anything. Well, you got to watch the Green Lantern. You got to watch the Lantern show, right? Same thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand this. Well, read the fucking prequel book.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Or
mean,
what you can do is you can come onto the channel here. We'll read it with you. We're going to read it as soon as it comes out. We'll do a whole video on it. We're maybe we don't read it word for word. We'll give you kind of like the cliff notes, or we'll try to summarize it because, dude, you don't want to sit here and me read you 144 pages, man.
story time with you, me, and DC.
Video length 4 hours and 50
Yeah.
minutes, something like that. I don't know, like how long it exactly take to read 144 pages, but
If you're lazy, I'm sure they'll have it in audiobook form on what's it called, audio Maybe they'll do it there, so you can just buy the audiobook.
Yeah, but the worst thing is, I'll be like on George on Seinfeld. Like, I'll get an audiobook and it'll be narrated by somebody who sounds exactly like me, so then I can't focus. Like, I need it read by somebody else. And it's gonna be my voice. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to get this too. I'll end up buying it, just because why not? I'm sure it'll be like $10 or whatever. I'm good with that. And then we'll get some backstory on it. So again, I would assume too that
$29.99 is what they told me yesterday.
So I'm gonna get the bootleg copy.
This comic was $10. Action Comics
God.
-- I shouldn't be showing you this yet because it is not out right now. But Action Comics #1, the reprint, they did the larger print versus a normal comic. It was $10. So a 144 page book is not going to be $10 nowadays. Inflation.
The pages, apparently trees are more expensive. I don't know. Either way, I think James Gunn is going to be under the assumption too that not everyone is going to buy that book, obviously. So I wouldn't think too much of it, guys, if you're not up to buying that or reading it. I'm sure you can still watch the film and it'll be enjoyable. It's mainly for those that just want a little bit more backstory of Clark's recent history. So,
or like I said, tune in if you're subscribed and you have your bell notifications clicked. We will be doing a video. We'll go ahead and do a good synopsis of it, of the whole thing. And I'll have, like, if you've been following our Justice League Unlimited series and our Absolute series, because actually that video is getting ready to release tomorrow from time of recording, where we go over the next several of the Absolute series. I'll put most of it up on pictures and stuff, so you can get the visuals as well as hear the synopsis of it. We'll be doing that for the book too. Now, I won't, if the book is nothing but just words, that might suck. I'll find some cool artwork to go along with it, but you can tune in right here and we will go over the entire prequel with you. If that is something you're interested in, you just watch the video and we'll help you out, save you from doing all the reading, because I will do it for you guys, and I'll make Mantis do it too.
Yeah, I can only read
the
Wool host annual annual meeting of
exactly.
Yeah. But if you've made it this far, we appreciate if you would click the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. I was going to show you where, but we're going to reverse it today, where Cal is showing you where to click that.
Well, you went ahead with my line, so I was like, I got to do the...
Yeah. We'll just wing it here. Again, we appreciate everyone that has, liked and commented. Keep commenting. We're
guys,
we're working.
I know I'm real bad about it right now. I swear I'm going to... by the time I get this video edited, I'm going to go answer your comments, guys. We do love and appreciate all of the comments and you taking time to watch the videos. I'm sorry. I've been real bad about it. It's been, there's been a lot. That's no excuse. We will get to the comments. I promise, guys. We thank you for it. Keep them coming.
Yes. And if you like what you see, again, keep an eye out, because if you do have the bell notifications on, you'll get notified when we do release the next Absolute video that we're doing, which is going to be Martian Manhunter, Flash, and Green Lantern. Check that out. It's going to be awesome.
That will be tomorrow, the 18th, which by the time this releases will be in the past. So
yes, but it'll still be on our channel. So I'm sure you guys have already watched it or going to watch it. Have already watched it? They should have already watched it. If you haven't watched it, go check it out.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But, all right, guys.
Yeah, you go ahead. Sorry. No. I don't. I forget what you say after
I was right. All right, guys. Mantis, unless you have anything else,
no.
That is going to wrap it for us on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, guys. We'll see you then.
Later.